Let's play some Terraria. I love this game. Now, eagle-eared viewers may have realized that this is not Boss 1, and that this is not how the game usually sounds. Well, as a crazy project, I decided to do an audio redesign of Terraria's Skeletron fight, including new music in my style. Let's get into it. First, I needed some gameplay to design to, and there's definitely many ways to go about getting that footage. I could quite easily just look up Skeletron fight, use that footage, and credit the creator, or I could just load a completed character I have, start a new world, and easily beat Skeletron. Or I could...
Oh, that's a bigger fucking radius than I remember. Oh. Yes. Yes.
Okay, I beat Skeletron. I actually have to do work now and not just play one of my favorite video games. For the music, rather than trying to just replicate Scott Lloyd Shelley's extremely distinct score for Terraria, I'd make a song decidedly in my own style, with some Terraria-isms included. This song all started from this stupid DMB groove with this busy chromatic slap bass. As I went on, I started to fill it out with groovy synths and some instruments used in Terraria. I'm lucky in that Scott Lloyd Shelley actually used my DAW of choice, Logic, for Terraria, so I naturally have some of the sounds that he used. One Terraria-ism I was sure to steal for this song is blatant bit crushing. I used xylophones and other mallet percussion throughout the theme because skeletons and bones. Oh yeah, to very eagle-eared viewers, this melody might sound familiar. That's because it's sort of a reimagining of the melody used in the dungeon theme. I thought it made perfect sense, as Skeletron is of course the barrier to your entry to the dungeon. Then, I gave the song a bit more character, throwing in some classic Y2K style random vocal samples and record scratches. If you can recognize where these two laughs originate, I will be deeply impressed. Then, after a build, we get this way more melodic and harmonically interesting section. The way I came up with these chords is by taking a chromatically descending line and finding cool ways to harmonize it, while trying to stay in the realm of a boss theme. The rest of the theme just involves repeating and mixing up previous ideas until we loop. By the way, if you want to check out the song or the redesign without me yapping all over it, there's a link in the description to a video with both. This was the big time sink of this project, making a whole ton of sound effects to cover all the actions that happen in this fight. I have a really interesting relationship with Terraria's sound design, I think. I'll say it's very utilitarian. By that I mean it's extremely efficient given the absolute size of this game. And with that efficiency and reuse of sound effects actually comes a lot of clarity through a sound design language the player quickly understands. For example, these sounds play when you swing almost anything in the game. So whenever the player hears this sound, regardless of item, they know their action has been completed. This definitely sacrifices some appeal and detail in favor of efficiency and clarity. Another example that might be a bit more controversial among sound designers is this sound. This sound is reused by a lot of bosses in the game, and the sound designer part of my brain thinks that that's pretty lame and misses out on an opportunity to give each boss more character and individuality through sound. But, 1. This sound has kind of become pretty iconic among Terraria players, and 2. There's a sort of utility afforded to the player by reusing this sound. It's established when you summon and fight the Eye of Cthulhu that this sound means, "Boss is coming, look out." So when you hear this sound when trying out this weird mechanical worm or this weird gelatin crystal you found in the new biome, you immediately know that you used it in the right circumstances and, oh shit, some nonsense is on the way. Let me get ready. And this holds true for every boss that uses this sound. Now, could you get the same player reaction out of unique sounds for each fight? Most likely, yes, but this tactical reuse of sound is still effective. That all being said, redoing the sound for Terraria was hard. My brain has so many of these sounds ingrained so deeply in my head due to my embarrassing amount of playtime that for a lot of them, it's just hard to imagine anything else. But I had to, so let's get into some of my favorites I made for this. Something I always wish the original game did is make critical hits feel more special. They're often overlooked by players in favor of attack and defense. So, for this redesign, I decided there'd be two types of hit sound effects. One for normal hits that's a bit more understated, and one for critical hits that sounds more destructive. Now, because I'm using the boomstick with Meteor Shot in this clip, they kind of blend together in the mix of several hit sounds, but I still think this system is a great way to make crits feel slightly more special. As I mentioned, the boomstick is the weapon I used for most of this fight, and I wanted to give it a lot of character. The core of the sound is this balloon popping sound I recorded, which is run through some analog style saturation and cranked up crazy to get a sort of explosion sound. This explosion was absolutely my goal, as the name of the weapon is the boomstick. We got a boom. I did the rest of the sound by trying to add as much crusty, rusty detail as is tasteful, to get at the idea that the boomstick isn't exactly the most upkept, high-quality weapon. This roar started with this sample of men murmuring, then run through some wacky processing like ring modulation, crystallizer to reverse it and turn it into echoes, then space blender reverb to turn it airy and verby. Then after all that, I printed it through this plugin called Traveler, which simulates movement and the Doppler effect in order to turn it into an impact. Then I mixed that in with some pitch-shifted human yelling from yours truly, and of course, some cliche bone sound effects, which are actually just drumsticks dropping on a table. Yeah, I would say that's about it. If you have any more questions about other sound effects or musical choices for this redesign, be sure to leave a comment, and if you want to listen to the song on its own, be sure to check out the video linked in the description. With that all being said, here is my audio redesign of the Skeletron fight from Terraria. Thanks for watching.